Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to make a video today talking about the further changes from today. I'm having to talk a little quieter and I'll try and turn up the video because my wife is working in the background. But anyway, these are just going over some of the further changes they were talking about in the Ziz interview and from yesterday. These are going to be going into effect around 3 p.m. they said. Will be deployed tomorrow at around 3 p.m. or April 10th, 6 p.m. in your local time. Okay, so it'll happen tonight at 6 p.m. I gotcha. That's cool. I won't be here to do anything about it. I gotta go to work soon. But basically, these changes are further making some changes to what they were talking about in the interview with Zizarin. They were talking about making changes to monster speed, and that's what they've done to a lot of the monsters throughout the acts. Basically, just saying that really fast monsters that were like fast baseline are no longer going to have the haste aura at all, which is awesome. Several outliers from Acts 1, 2, and 3 are all being affected by the nerf of their own movement speed and or getting their damage and life nerfed by a small amount on top of them already being weak, just to prevent swarming, both in Act 2 and 3. I'm not going to go into specific detail about them all, but you can see it here. Some of the biggest ones I can think of are the Prowlers. Those are the werewolf guys. They now will be walking a lot more often instead of running, and they won't be like swarming you quite as easily. That way you can get away from them a bit faster and a bit easier, which is awesome. The boulders, the things that roll at you, at least the boulder ants have been. Sorry. The boulder ants have been replaced because they do annoying movement stuff, and they thought that this area in Act 2 had way too many. The Titan Valley had way too many enemies that would move you too much or make their own movement irritating to follow. So they've replaced them with just basic humans. The antlion, anything that charges at you and used to push you backwards with them, now is changed to be no longer the case. They just push you to the side instead, which is awesome. Less range monsters in a few areas, that's cool. And they've also just said that this is not the only things, but they're looking into more inconsistent densities and speed issues across the entire game. They've nerfed Viper, the Viper boss, when you first get to Act 3 in the past city. That boss that has like the box of spearmen around you that attack you with like green spear stuff. Anyway, her Chaos Rain, the little purple storm, doesn't do as much damage anymore, even though I feel like the spears did more damage, but that depends on you. That's like the biggest change here, really. They've made a pretty significant change to the way that minions revive. I don't really deal with minions, so not really a thing I'm going to cover, but basically just 7.5 seconds down from 8, I think is what they say, so pretty good. Gazzy, the resident minion guy, seems to be happy about that. Other player balance, rally support, glory. There's several more that I can think of, i.e. our build, our artillery ballista build. The watch how I do it node doesn't actually work, so I'll show it to you. Oh, this is from PoE 1. I want PoE 2. There we go. I'm just doing some experiments earlier today. Anyway, this node right here, as far as I can tell, artillery ballista, if you look at the term in game, ballistas say that totems are constructed allies. So that implies that they're an ally if they have the word ally in the term. So there's no reason why this node should not work, but it doesn't. just doesn't work. So that's sad. That's why we don't take it, because it just doesn't work. Also, I did find out today from a nice commenter that basically the only thing that scales your damage is not your local damage on your weapon, but just going to be increased like elemental percent damage. So like percent fire, percent and percent increased elemental attack increases your ballista damage, but does not increase, or but like the local stuff on the weapon itself doesn't. So like the physical damage here, the elemental damage. So like the only thing is in this PoB, this weapon is significantly worse than this one. So I'm gonna guess there is some kind of, since the I don't know. PoB says that it is scaling it a bit more, but I'm not entirely sure why. I just know that the weapon shouldn't. The ballista has its own weapon, as far as I'm aware. So anyway, scaling's a bit wonky on the ballista. We don't know for sure, I don't think, how it exactly scales, or at least I don't. Not that I don't specifically know. I just know that Watch How I Do doesn't work with us, and increased elemental attack and plus level to skills is what really helps. I don't think that our numbers here are correct, in my opinion. I just don't. I don't think that these numbers are right. I don't know what I do to fix that. Honestly, it doesn't even seem to be applying the more damage from Siege Cascade, because I've got Siege Cascade there, so it should change this damage. Is the enemy immobilized? Siege Cascade. Does it say it on this? Yeah. Impact. Deals 200% more damage against both the explosion and the impact. Do 200% more damage to an immobilized enemy. And pinned is counted as immobilized. And we are pinning constantly due to suppressing fire and right where we want them. We are constantly keeping monsters pinned, so we should be doing more damage, but it's not. Alongside a lot of other things that just don't seem to be working, I'm not entirely sure, but I know it seems that we do a lot more damage than what this suggests, to be totally honest with you. I'm curious if I just get rid of this entire thing right here. If I just delete this, we get rid of that much damage. We go here. I know this has turned into a patch review, but now it's like a mess with the PoB. It's gonna be an all-in-one video. It's all right. Do we get more damage from just allocating all these attack skills? No, we actually technically get worse damage a little bit, but we do get 1 point back for having comparable stuff here. So, hey, no, stop. Hey, buddy. Sorry, my son came in, taking stuff off my desk. So, anyway, my wife has graciously led him away from the desk. 'Tis okay. He is just... I was just hanging out with him. I guess he was just trying to come in here and hang out with me more, which I can understand. Anyway, it may be worth it to do that, because this is pretty far out of the way, and there's not really much nodes other than this that we can take. And this would allow us to take 2 more of these nodes, which technically would increase our damage by even more. There was another change I kind of wanted to look at was Painter's Servant. Does these gloves do anything for us? No. It doesn't seem like they do. Okay. Now I'm mainly just looking through, seeing if any of these would help us at all. This seems to be okay. Chance to ignite is doubled for these gloves. Energy shield gloves. Those might be good to have on. No, it's energy shield, so it'd reduce our survivability by a bit, but like the fact that we get more ignite chance is nice. Anyway, I'll go through more of this later, but back to what we were actually doing. I'll leave all that in, it's fine. Just theory crafting, build more. Anyway, performance improvements are nice. The timeline, charm changes. This is big. So basically, charms are going to be implicit now. But they are a random range from 32. They're only allowed one charm from up to level 32, up to two charms at level 64, or until level 64. So up to 64, they're only allowed two charms. After 64 and above, so it maps, they're allowed three charms. And then certain unique belts are always allowed three, which they won't always have three, but they are always allowed three. And then certain uniques will uncap that for a further three in the future, which that is an amazing change. Alongside that, they are also making some of the charms were buggy, so several of them just did not activate when you got hit by certain effects that they were supposed to prevent. They're fixing that. And then they're also making a gigantic change in the terms of and I don't know if these changes are going to come in yet. I just know that these are going to come in within the next week or so, I think. But the mods on the charms themselves are going to be buffed, which is really nice. They're also adding stash tab affinities, which isn't stash tabs in and of themselves. They are the things that allow you to right-click a tab in your stash, and then once you've, like, say you have a tablet in your inventory and you have one of your stashes affinities for these tablets fragments, then you can set that tab to just set all those tablets and stuff in that stash tab, and it'll do it automatically, so you don't have to worry about it, which is really nice. Okay, that's good. Good change to the flask tab. Atlas bookmarks is also pretty nice. Big change for people that like that kind of thing. But anyway, it's a nice post, and I will get back to working on this in game and out of game. But anyway, this is a nice post. I like everything so far. Since the interview, they've really been dialing in on some really great changes. The first patch also had the first further changes post that they made also had a bunch of balance changes in it that were really nice. Especially looking forward to the one that says that wildfire will be changed and like basically double its effectiveness, because right now you have to wait 2 seconds before your ignite will spread. I wish the ignite wasn't a 1 second or a 2 second ignite spread, but 1 second is way better than 2, and it seems a little bit more realistic that you could actually use it in an ignite context. So anyway,